We are live. Hey, Jess.
Hi, Tim. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I've been eating a lot of lime-infused mango from Sainsbury's. Oh, mate, it's
That is
like
so specific.
nature's fruit pastels, though. It's just insane.
I'm going to
Insane.
have to invest. That was a good way. That's a nice little recommendation to start the podcast off.
There you
How
go.
exciting. How exciting
How are you doing?
today, people. I'm doing well, other than being very cold. So if anybody spots my hot water bottle, no, you don't. It's not there. So yeah, I'm all right. I don't have any lime infused mango, but I am ready to talk about marketing. So we've got half of a win today.
That's pretty good. What have we got today?
What have we got today? Well, we didn't have much news this week, but Tim, I feel like you've managed to just sneak some news in there right at the end. So we will be talking about some marketing news. We are going to be talking about this week's video, which is about Tim's favorite topic in the world, AI, and the podcast most frequently talked about topic, AI. And we're also going to be talking about our brand of the week, which is a very cute pet insurance company, and our marketing lesson of the week from Fix Your Machine, which is all about making the most of what you've got. We're also going to be talking about kind of a win/fail/ interesting to see the reaction to it that's happened in the marketing world this week as well. So we'll jump straight in with the news, Tim, since this is all you. I'm very excited to hear about what you've spotted in the last couple of days.
Let's do it. So, I mean, it's not like totally directly marketing, but I feel like we spoke a bit last year about metaverse and AR, VR, and all that type of stuff. And I know a lot of businesses will be thinking, do we need to sort of prepare for this type of stuff? Some really interesting news coming out from Microsoft over the last couple of days. They are basically scrapping, from what I can gather, they're scrapping all of their AR, VR projects, which pretty considerable given that Microsoft had like contracts with the US Army on, its HoloLens projects and all of this. It sounds like they're scrapping it all, letting everyone go, at the same time as investing loads more money into open AI. So it seems like, at least for them, metaverse, AR, VR stuff is dead for now. Of course, there's also been some news in the last few days about Apple's AR, VR headset, and apparently that is coming this year. So slightly conflicting there, but it certainly looks like marketers at the moment don't need to worry too much about metaverse and all that type of stuff. With the tech layoffs and things happening, that those sorts of projects seem to be ones that are being sort of nudged towards the cliff of despair.
That makes sense. That's really interesting to hear that they've dropped these teams, because I've been very invested in and just generally close to VR for a long time in the gaming space. And it feels like a really good marketing lesson here in terms of, I just don't think they knew who it was for. I think the actual purpose got really, really lost. You were seeing like Facebook put out this metaverse that was just so ugly and horrible. And it was like, who is this for? Is it for gamers? Is it for people who are interested in technology and who own these headsets? Or were you trying to target your Facebook audience of like mums and nans? Like, I just feel like there was no clear, it was just like, let's just do this to do it with no clear direction. And that's why I think it's ended up with people, needing to make these big layoffs, because they've just been in loads of different directions. Like, originally VR was a really good gaming thing, could have been used for a lot of interesting things like therapy and all these different things. And it feels like it just got so lost. Yeah.
I guess in some ways it might be a bit like cryptocurrency, and it's potentially very powerful technology, but just struggling to find a use case which really resonates with an audience. It's tough, isn't it? On the whole Facebook metaverse thing, like Zuck has such form. I remember him saying, I don't know when it was, like 2013 or something, that mobile is the way forward. And at that point, that seemed like a crazy call, because we had analytics, and it was like 80% of most website users were were desktop, and mobile just seemed like this small fringe thing. And he said, right, the direction of Facebook, we're going all in on mobile. And at the time that seemed way too early, crazy. But he turned out to be totally right. So I think a lot of people, he had a bit of credit with people. He had a bit of overhang trust from those. And when he said, right, we're going all in on metaverse, a lot of people are saying, oh, wow, I can't really see the use cases for that. But, Zuck's got form. So, and now I think a lot of people, and it looks like Microsoft included, are really thinking, actually, where is the money here? Not sure.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Actually brings us quite well onto another piece of news that I did see that you reminded me about, Tim, which is a lot of decisions were sort of made during the pandemic. And I can see something like this metaverse that Facebook were working on being like, how can we bring people close together when they can't see each other? Or like how people are spending way more time online for no particular reason that won't last forever, the pandemic. And then put loads of money into it, because I saw that Spotify have let a lot of their podcasting team go. I know that's a bit, we're on a podcast, probably shouldn't be saying that, but I saw that there's been quite, I think maybe podcast listening made up, I think it was 6% of all Spotify listens in Q1 of some time. You can tell I just read this article about 5 minutes ago, but I know the stats are dead on, but basically Spotify made this decision based on the performance of podcasts. It felt like they went all in, expanded their teams, because there was a lot more people listening to podcasts during, the pandemic. And now that's reducing down, they're having to reduce down their teams as well. So I wonder if a similar thing happened with, Microsoft putting money into AR, VR, and it just hasn't really turned out the way they expected based on very, very certain unprecedented circumstances. So it is interesting to see how people are going all in when maybe they shouldn't have done.
And I think the pressure on a lot of these tech firms and businesses in general, sort of needing to move more towards profitability. And there's a sort of swing, isn't there, with the economy, of whether you're going towards investing in crazy new outlandish things or like steady growth, profitability, reliable, and investors are valuing one or the other depending on what else is going on in the market and how cheap capital is. And there's definite swing at the moment towards profitability, stable, good quality businesses. And I think a lot of Spotify's investments in podcasts were really quite eye-catching numbers, but maybe the business case wasn't necessarily there. But great for Joe Rogan and Kim K, who got in while they could.
Yes, 100%. I think Dale's left a comment while we're live making a very good point, saying YouTube are hiring people and fleshing out a podcast division. And I definitely think we are seeing this movement towards video podcasts, which sounds really silly because it's like, that's the point of a podcast, is you listen to a podcast rather than watching a YouTube video. But I know a lot of the podcasts that I watch that are for more entertainment purposes than knowledge purposes, I find out about them on TikTok and then I'll watch full episodes on YouTube. And I like to see the people interact. I like to see those facial expressions or, all these different types of things. I don't think it'll work for every type of podcast, but I think the ones that are there for entertainment purposes will really thrive on YouTube. And I think as well, Spotify added the option to add a video to your podcast uploads. If you're the kind of person who was uploading YouTube first and then Spotify second, you could actually add a video. So maybe we're going to see a lot more video content based around podcasts, and people finding out about them through Reels, Shorts, TikTok, and maybe that'll be the ecosystem. So very, very interesting to see. So if you're a business with a podcast, definitely look into how you can maybe diversify your content. Could you do more video content? Could you get two people in a room and chat? There's definitely some interesting opportunities there for sure.
Totally agree. This week's video, Jess, using AI in digital marketing. I'm not sure the video is actually out yet, is it? I don't know.
It's no, I don't think it is. We're still working on it at the moment, but it's absolutely fine. We can still talk about it. We wanted to create a video that's kind of more of a beginner's guide. There's definitely a lot of videos out there that are more to do with like just a general overview. And so we decided that we wanted to put something together that was more of an intro, more so you can learn about what it means for marketers specifically. How did you find working on the video, Tim? I'm intrigued.
I absolutely love AI. I love everything to do with AI. I make videos all day about AI. I've been playing with AI in my spare time, building little basic models. And I love this type of stuff. I think at the moment, it's really powerful technology, and it seems like individuals haven't quite figured out. I think at the moment we've got these AI platforms, right, like Midjourney or OpenAI's ChatGPT and stuff like that. And you can start to play with them and you can experiment with them and you can see how far they can go. I think for a lot of marketers at the moment, they're basically fun, quirky gimmicks where we can see the potential, but they haven't really found their way into people's workflows yet. There are marketers and SEOs that are flooding sites full of AI generated content, and bully to them, go for it. I hope you do okay with the helpful content update, but there are people that have built it into their workflow, but I think for a lot of people, it's just a sort of curiosity. Let's poke at this thing and see where it goes. And I think it'll really be the next generation of apps that are built on these platforms, which is where AI will become part of marketers' daily workflow. So I'm really excited for that phase.
Yes, yeah, I'm really interested to see how it will go as well. I definitely started off as somebody who was not a fan of AI, and I'm now starting to be converted. Definitely nothing to do with art. I'm still very angry about AI art because it's been done very unethically. But in terms of some of the things that I have used ChatGPT for, whether that's just I needed some titles, so I used it to generate some titles. And even if I didn't use them, it just was one of those moments where, you need to do something and your head is totally empty. You can kind of use it as a springboard. That's really, really nice. But what's actually happened this week is ChatGPT has announced that they are charging for it, or they'll be charging for more advanced elements. I was just interested to know if you think it will be worth the price. Do you think that businesses will be making the decision to cut down their workforces and rather spend money on these platforms, or do you think it was more appealing to them when it was free? That's basically my very broad question.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I'd love to know the percentage of users that would pay and those that don't. I suspect it will be really, really low. That I would guess, and this is total guess, that most of the people who are playing with ChatGPT are doing it purely as like a poke at this thing, see what it does, experimental thing, which to be fair is exactly what they released it on, right? They released it in beta for just people just to have a play with. And I do think it's going to take the next level of apps that are built on top of these platforms. So when they release ChatGPT through the API, then you can build apps that use ChatGPT. And I think that's when it starts becoming a bit more useful. So I don't know whether the whole charging for ChatGPT seems to be a very rushed thing. They just seem to have literally surveyed people one week and then they just put a price thing up the next week and allow some people to buy it. So I don't know if it's really truly part of their game plan or they're just prodding at things to see what happens. But I really do think it's going to be the next generation of apps that are built on top of these things, which is where it becomes a part of your daily life. I think the use case that you mentioned there, where you've got it sort of open and you're doing some titles, you're trying to come up with a title, really struggling, just throw it at ChatGPT. That's a really interesting use case. That's a little bit like the whole GitHub sidekick thing, isn't it? Where you've got your GitHub, you're writing your code, and then you've got this Copilot thing that sits there sort of auto completing, and you can get it to do things and sort of work with you. So it's like you plus the AI sitting next to you, just sort of helping you out on some tasks. And I think that's a really interesting use case. I don't think people are going to be replacing jobs until it gets to the stage that, you've got an AI salesperson who's actually trained on all of your past sales material and all of your previous sales conversations and all of your, your documentation and everything, and can actually do the job better than a human. I think it's at that point which people start losing jobs and jobs start being replaced, or, that person's skill then becomes in training these models or whatever. But I think we're okay for now. I think people are okay for now, but it's coming, and it's coming probably more quickly than we expect.
Yes. And I would definitely say if you're sort of holding off doing marketing activity or hiring an agency or anything like that, just because you're like, well, maybe the AI can do it for us, I would say that's not the best idea. I would say it's not quite there yet. You need to have marketing knowledge and you need to know how to use this technology. So for example, when I was working on this video and researching it, to write it for Tim, I found it really challenging to get the AI to do things that I wanted it to, that I knew Tim knew how to get it to do. And so, yeah, it was really, really interesting. And I think it takes more work than you think. It's not just doing things for you. You have to know how to phrase your questions very well. You need to know how to use these tools. And I think, yeah, it's important.
Yes, agreed. I had an idea, and then I saw Jason's thing, and it totally left me. But yes.
Absolutely fine. I'm having a bit of a head empty day myself. But yeah, we've had a couple of comments on the live stream saying, Dale said maybe they fed people's answers about how much they'd pay into ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT decided the price itself, which we can hope that's not what they did. It's not particularly the best.
Well, Sam Altman, his original Sam Altman, sorry to cut you off, the OpenAI CEO said sort of rather jokingly a little while ago, when people asked him what his plans for monetizing it, he was like, well, we're just going to build an AGI, a general artificial intelligence, and then ask it how to monetize itself.
There we go then. There we go. So, maybe that is what they did.
You have a great brand of the week, Jess.
I do. I'm really excited about this. I came across this in an article about landing pages, and it was cited as a really good, having a really good landing page. And of course, we are recording this podcast live, and you can see it on our Exposure Ninja podcast YouTube channel. But if you're listening, I'm going to do my best to describe it to you. But we have this website called Lemonade Insurance. They're mostly known for pet insurance, but they are also known for some other insurance as well. But pet insurance seems to be their thing. Thank you, Tim. I was just trying to get that up on the screen, but you managed to sort that out for me. So quite a common discussion and quite a big trend that we've seen in terms of design and in terms of branding and positioning has been, let's strip everything out, really basic, and just go really, really simple. And I feel like Lemonade has gone down that route while also bringing back some fun and some playfulness. So you have this really white landing page, with some bright pink CTAs, but then you have these really, really cute animated animals that have been added. So you have a dog and a cat that kind of turn as you scroll down the page. You have, examples of the interface. You have review stars appearing. You have these kind of dynamic reviews that scroll across. You have images like little cartoons being used to show you all the different things that are covered by your insurance. And my favorite bit of the whole page is if you scroll down quite far, a little puppy appears and bashes into the CTA box to be like, hey, pay attention to this. And I just thought it was just really cool. I thought it really redefined insurance as a whole. I was genuinely gutted that they're not available in the UK, because I think even though I wouldn't be able to get pet insurance through them, I would have moved insurance over to them just because they look so fantastic, and then their offering is amazing. They really, really know their audience well. And the things that they've included, they're telling us how fast you get your claims, how quickly, that they will sign you up. It's just excellent. Really, really, really good. Let me go back to my notes, and I'm distracted by the little tail wagging, and see what else I had to say about it. It's just really, really sweet. One thing that I really enjoyed about it is I have been on pet insurance websites before where I've wanted to insure more exotic creatures, namely chinchillas or rabbits. And I have to go through a whole form to find out if they actually offer pet insurance that suits me. Whereas I can see right away, we've got a dog and a cat. That's all I need to know. Now I'm like, cool, they can't insure my pet. Whereas I feel like you don't get that on other sites. This is just from a personal experience. So I feel like right away they've disqualified me. I don't need to click the get prices button. I'm not wrong customer. I know right away that I don't need to do that, which I did really, really enjoyed. And also they don't just tell. They could just say get covered in seconds, claims approved in minutes. And also often when people are getting these claims and they are claiming on pet insurance, it's because they are in the vets right then. They're stressed. They're having a horrible time. They didn't expect this to happen. And now they're having to get money to pay for their beloved pet to get better, essentially. And it was just really nice to see these animations showing how quick the process is and how you're going to learn right away. There's also a tiny little thing as well that their star rating thing was just really fun. On the pet page specifically, a little creature takes a bite out of one of the stars to show they haven't got quite 5 stars, which was just a silly little thing that I enjoyed. And it also used in the text, it said fur fam. protect your fur fam, which I just thought was very cute and shows that they know their audience very, very well. They know that they're targeting, people who are maybe a bit younger and who want very simple insurance that they understand how it works and how quick they're going to get everything from the start. Downsides I have for this website are the reviews. You can't click on them. They are just added in by the web developers, I assume, because they've got reviews from like the App Store and other stuff. So you can't actually click through to see who these people are. Although I recognize some of these. So it seems like they have some high profile people who have left them reviews on Twitter and whatnot that they've opted to include, which I did like as well. Now, if you were watching the podcast live, you would have seen Tim going through to some of their other landing pages on their website, which aren't quite as fun, but I still think they're fine. They're okay. They have different USPs in a way than the pet one. So for instance, the pet stuff is very much, we cover all these things and we get the money to you really quick because you're in the vets, you need the money. Whereas the car insurance one is more like, you need this, you legally, in the UK at least, you legally have to have car insurance. So the reason why you should come to us is because we're going to plant trees when you spend with us. And if you drive less and have less emissions, you won't pay as much. So they've definitely found this really awesome USP in terms of, we know you have to have this. We know pretty much everyone is offering the same stuff for a similar price. So here's how we are going to make it better for you. And we're going to use really nice and neat visuals and animation to communicate that to you. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about Lemonade. Very sad that they don't serve the UK, because I would absolutely sign up with them in a heartbeat, just because I really like the brand positioning and the stuff they have to offer. I wish my car insurance planted a tree for every time I renewed my insurance with them, or charged me less the less driving I did. Like, that's awesome. So yeah, any thoughts, Tim?
Loads of thoughts, Jess. Loads of thoughts. Firstly, just as from a business perspective, isn't this amazing, folks? Jess is very keen to switch insurance because of the look of their website. And insurance is such a it should be such a commodity purchase, right? For many businesses, it really is a commodity purchase. This is something that nobody enjoys buying. It's painful. And the best providers, previously, we thought the best way to stand out in insurance was to try and make this painful thing slightly less painful, whereas actually Lemonade makes it fun and actually fun. And your sentiment is shared in the reviews. People are desperate to get their stuff insured with Lemonade. They love it. Where do I sign up? I've just signed up for this thing. It's amazing. Really, people are freaking out over this. And to me, all they've done is they've said, okay, what is normal in the insurance space? Normal in the insurance space is very sort of corporate branding, boring, safe looking, and safe and professional looking is what the branding agencies would have said. You need to look like you've been here for 1,000 years and you will be here for 1,000 years more.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
They've put two fingers up at it and they've said, right, let's just do the opposite of everything else, because nobody likes insurance companies. Let's just be completely different. If in doubt, stand out. And the tone of voice that they use, their quirky, friendly language is amazing, just makes sense. You don't feel like you're being ripped off. You don't feel like you're being intimidated, or they're using jargon to sort of batter you over the head or get one up on you. I noticed some of the phrasing that they used around, you've got home insurance, you've got contents insurance. They don't call it contents insurance. They just say insure your stuff. Which that's nice. Like, yeah, that's cool, isn't it? Because nobody actually knows when you think about you think, is it home or is it contents? Like, what's the difference? They're like, well, insure your house and the stuff in it. Like, great, okay, got it.
Yeah.
It's just plain English.
So well, yeah, and I think this is what a lot of brands are realizing now. And we have this conversation so often; it gets brought up in a lot of our videos and just content in general. Is that don't over jargon it. Like, people realistically aren't saying the things you think they're saying. Like, if I was like, oh, I need to insure my stuff in my house, like, that's what I would say. I wouldn't be like, I need to insure the contents of my house. I noticed you flagged up a comment by Dale that that's just come up saying about, reminds me of Octopus Energy, more likely to pick them based on brand than on price. I completely agree. I'm with Octopus Energy and I love them. I genuinely have a lot of affinity for them and genuinely care for them as a business. And it's like they've been doing these nights where you try to use less energy for an hour. And I based my work day around being able to take that hour and not be using my PC, literally lit some candles and sat and drew a picture, which sounds kind of lame, but that's what I did. And it was just, because they definitely make it feel like we're all in it together. It was to do with showing that we don't need to use the coal reserves and stuff like that. And it really feels like they are for the people rather than just being an energy company. Because I've had some bad experiences with energy companies, and I think I'm not going to be the only person that will say that. And I think, even them just being a little bit kinder, having that branding and those USPs and that tone of voice can make a huge difference for sure.
Yeah, I think the lessons are, don't be afraid to be totally different. Because if they were just trying to compete as another generic insurance company, it'd be so different, wouldn't it? Whereas I would like happily throw PPC at this all day, every day. I bet this out converts almost anything else. The reviews, everything about it in a space that is completely generic, in a space that's so difficult. Like no one's standing up. They are legitimately standing up. Exactly the same with Octopus.
Yes.
And that's super interesting. I think the other thing it illustrates is the importance of good design. Design is such a shortcut. It's such a brain hack for humans, isn't it? We look at design and we immediately assume credibility, trustworthiness. Like we're all so fickle and so judgmental based on appearance. We all are. Don't judge a book by its covers. Literally every one of us judges. Not only books, we judge people. We judge absolutely everything by its appearance, including insurance companies. And the fact that they've got a really nice website, just like Octopus. The fact Octopus has basically got a really nice website, a good UI, and they've managed to build themselves a completely different position to everyone else in the market, to the extent where they're buying up all these other energy companies that are going bust because Octopus has great design.
This is the thing.
Wow. What a hack.
And I think the last thing to mention on that, and I think this is something we're very passionate about with ourselves at Exposure Ninja, is both these companies, Octopus and Lemonade, feel very transparent, and it feels like they are bringing us to their level and helping us understand what we're actually paying for. It's like, you have to pay for this thing. You have to have car insurance. You have to have energy to your house. We're going to make sure that you get it and that you understand what you're paying for, why. We're really going to communicate with you and be really transparent. And I think that's just so important. Like, I think a lot of these, if you're in an industry where historically it's very much been them and us, we are the knowledgeable people, and that's why you should pay us. Actually, I don't think that's the way forward anymore. And I think people do want you to be brought to, do want to connect with you on a different level. I think that's really important.
Yeah. Great example, Jess. Love that one. Never seen them before. Love it.
I haven't absolutely loved them. I want to have a chat with their marketing team and be like, please tell me all your things. I want to hear everything. Tell me, tell me all your stories.
They made two very good decisions, right? Brand, whoever they chose to design that brand, and then someone had the guts to say, yes, let's go with that positioning you've suggested. Let's be bold.
Yeah.
Let's set our tone of voice, and then everything else flows from that. Genius.
Really fun. Really, really liked it. So, Tim, we've obviously covered quite a few lessons in what we've discussed today, but what is your biggest, most important marketing lesson of the week?
Okay, so my lesson of the week is an oldie but a goodie, as they often are. There's not very much new going on in marketing, really, if we're honest. We've been running Fix Your Machine. So Fix Your Machine, for those who don't know, is a service where we basically tune up a company's website, branding, visuals, basically all the stuff we've just been talking about, weirdly. And we get it so that they are in a position to be converting their traffic better, because that's how you sort of grow and how you scale and make it more profitable. So we've been doing some of these, and we've been working through the first sort of intake that we had of Fix Your Machine clients. And it has been such an incredible experience. We've worked with some amazing businesses so far, and everyone that I've personally worked with, because I've been doing some of these personally as well, as a way of sort of, just checking that I'm not getting too rusty. Still got it, Tim. And that's been great fun. Everyone that I've been working with, I've been reminded that it's so important to be confident to sell what you've got. Okay. So I'll give you a couple of examples. Businesses who are small, they tend to be self-conscious about the fact that they're small. And they think, oh, we need to appear big. If we're going to be credible, we need to appear big. We need to try and make ourselves what we're not. Meanwhile, businesses that are big are thinking, oh, well, we just got a bit big. We're a bit baggy. We can't connect. We can't pivot as quickly with customers as we could do when we were small. So we need to try and appear small and friendly and, all of that. And everyone's sort of looking at everyone else thinking, oh, if only we were that, if only we were that. And it's totally wrong. It's totally wrong. So one of my favorite examples of this was a business that we've been working with on Fiction Machine. They sell custom PCs. So people who are having gaming PCs built, and these might be a few thousand. So it's a significant purchase for people, and they spend a lot of time researching and thinking about this. And they're a pretty small firm, and they've, on their website, you can tell they're small, but they don't really push into that. Okay, you can tell they're small because the website's 10 years old and looks every day 10 years old. So they're having their lunch every day stolen by these bigger firms with loads more budget, much slicker, much better. You got all your building your PC tools in there and stuff. And meanwhile, this business has been almost totally left behind. And what they're worried about is, how do we compete with these big players because we're small? Whereas actually, when you talk to them, you realize one of the things that they do, which their competitors will never be able to do, is they're happy to talk to their customers, sometimes for literally hours on the phone, to make sure they get the best PC for them. So they will sell them the right components. They won't oversell them if you don't need an i9, because the i5 is perfectly good enough for the setup that you need and you can save money. Then they will sell you the i5. They won't sell you the best stuff for the sake of it. They won't sell you the best stuff because they've got a quota to fill from the manufacturer where they need to sell that stuff. So they'll be honest and they'll sell you the best thing for you based on your requirements. And that's something their competitors cannot say, because their competitors have vast sales teams who are, incentivized and targeted and don't really have any relationship. The smaller firm does not have a sales team. They have PC builders. So you're talking to someone who might be building your PC. And so obviously the positioning for that business should be around the people in it. It should be, right, we're small and we're an elite team and we build the PCs and you can phone us and you can talk to us, because that gives them a genuine competitive advantage against these larger, more faceless brands where you can't really trust that what you're getting is the right thing for you. So it reminds me of, I remember listening to an old Dan Kennedy seminar around this idea of sell what you've got. And he did a lot of work in chiropractic. So in America, where Dan lives, and where lots of people live actually, chiropractic marketing is quite a big thing. And there are two types of chiropractic marketing professionals, if you like. There are the ones who are ex-chiropractors, and they say to all the other chiropractors, I'm just like you. I used to be a chiropractor, and now I help other chiropractors with their marketing, and you should listen to me because I speak your language. I'm an ex-chiropractor. And the chiropractor will go, yeah, that sounds logical. And then you've got the other type of marketing professional that comes from the outside world. So they are a marketer and they chose to specialize in chiropractic. And they say, you should listen to us because we came with all this information from the outside world. We've seen what works across loads of different industries, and we've specialized to help chiropractors specifically. So rather than just copying each other and just doing the same thing as every chiropractor does, we bring a whole range of specializations and skills and experience to this industry specifically. And they're both right? They both sell what they've got. They take the position that they've got with confidence and they find a compelling way to explain that story. And it's exactly the same whether you're small, whether you're large, whether you're, we've been remote for 10 years, and there was probably 8 of those years where this was not considered an advantage. This was not considered a benefit. It was something to be embarrassed about. But we said, we hire the best people, not the best people within a 2-mile radius of one arbitrary postcode, which means we've got better staff, right? Cool. We found a way to sell what we've got. Whereas if you're in an office, obviously you're selling what you've got. You're selling, we've got loads of collaboration and we're all meeting and talking and we've got great relationships between our people, all that stuff, right? So you sell what you've got. Whatever your business has got, you just figure out a way of selling it. So I think there's like a lesson about digging for the gold in your current situation. And there's also a lesson about the power of confidence and just saying, you know what, everyone's looking at their competitors and thinking, oh, if only we were a bit more like them, we'd be so much better. Whereas actually, just be where you are and freaking sell it.
Yeah, so I completely agree. I think that's a really great lesson. I have to say as well, I was actually took part in a focus group internally for that PC building custom PC business. And I was kind of like, yeah, it's okay. Like, didn't really feel much affinity for it. And then when Tim told me, oh, they really talk to their customers, and, you know, they spend hours talking to them, and they won't oversell stuff. They'll give you, I felt so much more affinity for them. And I'm like, I really want to see them win, you know. And I think it's really interesting how just taking that little element of we spend hours helping you out really made me feel more invested in the business and see them as a lot different from their competitors rather than just the same thing again. And so it's really amazing, these little things that you might think aren't important because you're not seeing your competitors shout about them might actually be hugely important to your customers, because I'm their exact target demographic. And the fact that it made me feel reassured, you know, I thought was awesome. So yeah, you need to step back and look at things from like a bird's eye view, look at your business and see what is there in here, what gold is there here, like Tim said, that sets us apart and that we thought was a weakness but is actually a strength. Yeah, really awesome lesson.
Jess, you have a marketing fail of the week.
It's also kind of a win. Yeah, so this one was really interesting. It was actually Dale who shared this in our work sort of water cooler, our shouting hall, where we can shout into the void and let people know interesting things that we've seen. It's not often into the void. I shared lemonade in there because I thought it was a really cool website. And obviously Dale shared this advertising campaign by Flora, who are a spread company in the UK. I don't really know how to describe them, but you know, they sell margarine. Is that the word?
Margarine.
Like
whatever the synthetic butter, whatever the word is for that in your location.
Exactly. And they are a very well-known company. They've been known for like as long as I've been alive. I've known about Flora. And what's been really interesting is they have done a plant-based range. And they're sort of jumping into that plant-based space and advertising them like that. And they did a advertising campaign which focused a lot on sort of why are you eating something what came from a cow, essentially, you know, and was very focused on that point. And what I noticed in the comments on Twitter and from other ninjas within Exposure Ninja was, why are they talking badly about cow butter when they also sell cow butter? What's very interesting is that they don't sell cow butter. They sell one product that has buttermilk in, but the rest of their products are also vegan. So it created this really interesting debate about how it wasn't even that they're talking badly of their other products. People didn't even know that their products were vegan in the first place because they've almost created a whole new brand to be vegan, even though their products are already vegan. Now, I would argue that the new products are meant to be butter blocks, which they don't sell as like in their normal range. So it is a new thing, but enough people got confused and went to this space of, but don't they sell cow related products? Why are they talking badly about it? That it shows that they didn't really, it's not they didn't really understand their audience, but it's just really interesting. It's really interesting how they've they're at war with themselves and but also they're not, and people all think that they're not a vegan brand when they always have been. And it's just a whole mess. That's why I put it in as a fail, even though people are talking very highly of the adverts. It's this discussion that of people not realizing they've always been vegan and how they're anyway. Tim, thoughts? My brain went blank because I said many words, and I think the conflict between the Flora and the Flora plant-based has just done me in.
Yeah, so I saw it when you shared it, and they're cool ads, right? And they make a lot of sense because it's like we don't need our vegetables, we don't need our grass to go through a cow's stomach before we make spread out of it. So, you know, here's Flora plant-based, and a plant-based is better. And as soon as I see Flora plant-based, I assume all other Flora is non-plant-based, right? Which I think is a fairly natural conclusion to come to. So I didn't know. I don't understand why they didn't just say Flora is plant-based. I know that some of it isn't, but like, isn't it worth just... If that's the space that you're going after, can't you just say, you know, did you know that Flora is plant-based? And then it doesn't feel like you're carving your brand into two and just sort of pitching them against each other. It just felt really weird. It felt like a brand conflicting with itself for absolutely no reason.
Yeah, and something that I thought was really interesting is I remember seeing TV ads maybe sometime last year where they were promoting that their products have always been vegan and that they've always been plant-based. So part of me wonders if they ran that campaign, got data from it that showed that people still weren't making that connection and just thought, you know what, we'll just start a new brand. And like I said, the products are different, but it's just so confusing. And maybe it is just they knew that if they released a plant-based butter under the normal Flora branding, that people wouldn't see it as plant-based and would see it on the shelves and be like, that's got milk in it. So it's just this really, I want to get in their office and be like, what happened? Tell me, what is going on? Show me your customer data. What's the sentiment? What is happening? Because I'm just so intrigued as to what happened. And actually, Dale did input on the live stream now and say their Flora Butterly never used to have dairy. They added it after releasing their plant-based brand, which is, we see that quite often. Cadbury's did it as well. Their Bourneville chocolate never had milk in. And then when they released their vegan chocolate, they added milk into Bourneville so that, we call it the vegan pound.
So, right, let me get this straight. So Flora releases ads saying that it's really weird for spreads to be animal-based. And then they add animal product to a historically plant-based product.
You see why I put it in as a fail?
Yeah.
Because even though the ads are nicely designed and they have really good sentiment, it's one of those where I'm like, not from you, though. It's not a nice sentiment from you, is it really? It's like with the almost our principle, I don't eat the vegan Cadbury's chocolate unless I find it on sale in the pound shop, because I'm like, you're charging me double for, I could have just eaten the Bourneville like I always used to.
There is no good quality chocolate in this world that contains dairy. The only type of chocolate that anyone should be eating is 100%. Anyway, I will leave it there. I will die on that hill.
the controversy, the great chocolate debate. But I just thought that was, like I said, really, really interesting to see so many people celebrating the design and the messaging in the adverts, to then see also so many consumers saying, I don't get this because you aren't plant-based. Or, saying, why are you dissing this kind of product when you sell it? They don't actually sell that product, or they didn't, and now they do, just so they can charge more for their plant-based option. The end.
Crazy. Focus groups, where are you? Where are you at?
Yes, tell us all your secrets about how you feel about Flora's products and whether they are vegan or not.
Indeed. Just a couple of things before we break up. If you are an Exposure Ninja email subscriber, keep an eye on your email inboxes over the next couple of weeks, because we've got quite a lot of live trainings that we're going to be releasing. We're going to be releasing one all about email marketing and the different automations that your business needs to have set up. We've got another one coming along about Microsoft ads. And then third one, there's even more. There's another one which is going to be all about SEO, on-site SEO, which we're going to be releasing. And then finally, we're going to be, for the first time ever, talking about the process that we use to sell and promote books as a way of leveraging authority and credibility. So if you're not an Exposure Ninja email subscriber, this is a terrible, horrible miscarriage of justice. You must immediately go to exposureninja.com and throw your email address into any pop-up that you can possibly find.
There's many pop-ups and spaces. I'm pretty sure if you scroll to the bottom of the page, on the homepage, you can sign up to our email list, or pretty much every single blog will be like, do you want to sign up for emails? Do it, please.
Yes.
So please do. We put out a lot of good stuff, and it's never spam, and we're never trying to be like, buy this thing, or we've got a discount. No, it's never that. It's always like useful information, or telling you about a new podcast, a new video, things that will actually help you, rather than just trying to be like, buy our thing. I recently signed up to a mailing list and was really shocked that nearly every single email I was getting from them was just about discounts off their software. It was actually, and also the titles were very misleading, making me think I was going to learn something. And then all that happened was they told me I was getting like 50% off, and I was like, don't want it, thank you. And actually unsubscribed. And it's a tool that I use quite frequently. So I was quite ashamed to and that I had affinity for, and now I'm like, I don't like you because you're just only trying to sell me stuff. I thought I was going to get insights. Anyway, rant over.
Don't get on the wrong side of Gen Zs. That's my lesson there.
No. Well, I'm actually a millennial.
Are you, Jess? We don't need to tell everyone. Your TikTok usage habits would definitely. I mean, you're like maybe you're the interface. You're the interface.
I self-identify as a zillennial because I don't quite fit the millennial box. But anyway, Dale very kindly asked in the comments, where can I learn more about Fix Your Machine, which you mentioned a couple of times during this live stream. Tim.
Yes, exposure.ninja/machine.
There you go.
Exposure.ninja/machine. That's not exposureninja.com/machine. It's exposure.ninja/machine.
Yes. Sorry if you heard one of my chinchillas bark. Apologies for that one. Apologies for the interruption. They have now
I need to apologize, Jess. Today we have also learned that chinchillas bark.
They do. So if anybody heard that, apologies for that one. They haven't really done much of that yet. So yeah.
There we go. We're all learning every day.
Very educational podcast over here. Not always education about marketing, but always educational. But yes, Fix Your Machine. Very, very fantastic initiative that the team have come up with. Absolutely loving hearing everything that's coming out of it, the results that are already coming through. And yeah, it's just really nice. It's just...
I can't wait to share the stories. There's some businesses with such fantastic potential, and they just need someone to, grip them and say, right, this is what you're pitching, this is where you're pitching it, this is how we're doing it, blah blah blah, go. I'm really loving this. It's
completely
great.
If you think it's not for you because of your business type, we've had some really interesting and unique businesses come through who fit the program really, really well. So you may just have a look, sign up, see where it goes.
Yes, exposure.ninja/machine. There's a webinar which explains it all and gives a bit of info on who's it for, who's it not for, because it isn't for everyone.
No, it's not for everyone. Make sure you watch the webinar before signing up for a call, else you'll end up in a call very confused. So definitely watch the webinar and find out who it's for. If you don't want to watch the whole webinar, I recommend you do, but it is an hour and a half long. Just go to the last half an hour and that will explain who it's for and who it isn't. So yeah.
I'll be gutted if you don't watch the whole thing.
No, go and check and then start at the beginning and watch the rest of it.
This can be so cruel. Right, let's wrap this. Thanks, Jess. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me on. Talk to you next week.
In a bit.
Bye.